welcome to today's session. Today is a special one on SQL, and I see those of us who are in, so we are not the same people who were in the 2 hours ago session, which was for the exec community. So I'm going to assure you that you will learn a lot of interesting things. The session was really interactive, and at the end, we're going to award some prizes. So there will be a gift at the end. I'll advise that you stay tuned to the end. So the topic is exploring number and text formatting in SQL. The presenter is Hakeem Anibi. Is one of us. He's your BZH staff, and he's going to be taking us on this. This session is brought to you by your BZH. Also, our Canadian arm is MHS Analytics. Your BZH, we are a trading company fully into data analytics. We've been doing this since 2014. So kind of we are focused. We've seen a lot of things. We might not be very swift to switch to all the buzzwords and all the hypes, but when it comes to delivering the value, consulting, training, being at the full spectrum of the value chain, yes, you can count on us as having experienced it. So we are not just those people chasing the buzz and the newest hypes. So if you need training in Excel, SQL, Power BI, Microsoft, said Excel now, Power BI, SQL, and financial modeling, then yes, we are, one of your best options. And the MHS Analytics is our Canadian entity, so we expanded to Canada this year, and we provide consulting service already to one of the largest pension fund in Canada. So you see, we don't just train, it's also we provide services to a global clientele, and that can be something that makes a difference if you are trying to make a career shift or you're trying to learn to apply at work, not just learn to put on your CV. You rather want people who will train you on a work relevant curriculum and also be able to support you after. Okay, so today's session is going to be anchored by Hakeem. He's going to present to us on SQL and text and number formatting. He's a certified data analyst. He's worked across several sectors, and also I think he's worked for different geographical clients across the world too. He joined us this year, but he's been in this data space for some time. He's adept at using Microsoft Excel, Power BI, SQL, Python, and today we'll be taking us on SQL. I'm going to share his LinkedIn in the chat so you can connect with him. And right now I'm going to hand over to him and stop sharing my screen. So Hakeem, over to you.
Yeah, good evening once again. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. And I'm happy Independence Day once again, October 1. So not just to waste our time, I think I'll just dive right in. Okay. So we'll be exploring number and text formatting in SQL. So basically, formatting in SQL is just you applying a very readable style to your query results, strings, numbers, dates, and any other results that you get in your query. And we actually format in SQL so we can improve the readability and also increase the performance and efficiency of our query in such a way that the execution time becomes reduced. Maybe it's meant to load for like 5 minutes, but due to the formatting that we did, it's probably load for like 3 minutes. So we'll start with text formatting. So text formatting, as I said, is just to format text, which we also know as strings. We can find the length, we can extract a substring from a string. That's like we're extracting the particular part of the word from the entire word. We can replace a string, can convert from upper to lower, from lower to upper, and much more. So the very first function we're going to be looking at is the cast or convert function. There are actually two different functions, but they can be used for the same they have the same functionality actually. They used to convert a data type to another. Let's imagine, we have different data types in SQL. We have date, we have date time, we have integer, we have varchar, and so on. So you can actually convert a date data type to a date time data type. And I guess we know the difference. Date data type is just going to have the dates like 01/10/2023. But the date time is going to have the dates and the time. So let's just dive right into our SSMS. We're actually going to be using the AdventureWorks database. So let's explore this table, which is the employee table. You can see the table comprises of several records of different employees, from the CEO to vice presidents and so on. So now we just want to look at two columns. We are interested in the birth date column and the modified date column. So what we're going to be doing is we have this column birth date that has just the date. So now I want to convert and transform this data type, which is the data type, to like a date time. Maybe you want to see the time they gave it to our CEO. Our CEO was giving birth on the night on 1969 January 29th, but we don't know the particular time. So we want to find out the particular time. So that's one. We'll be converting that from date to date time. And then this modified date, maybe the manager is a lazy manager that does not care about the time. He does not care about the time and just wants to see the particular date a record was modified. So we're going to be converting the date time data type to a date, because that's what our manager is concerned about. So now it actually takes in two parameters. So sorry, we're going to be using the cast function first. We'll cast the birth date, which is, don't forget, it's a date data type because it does not have a time. So the birth date as, so it's asking us that which data type do you want to convert it to as a date time, because we're interested in the time they gave birth to the employees as, let's give it a name, birth date time. So running this query, you can use the F5 key, or you can just come up here to execute. So now you can see that, let's just assume that they're all giving birth to at exactly 12 o'clock. Okay, let me just put the job title so we can see title for everyone. So you can see that the CEO is giving birth to at exactly 12 o'clock. Let's just assume that they're all giving birth to at 12 o'clock. So assuming they're giving birth to like around 2 a.m. or thereabouts, the time could have been 2.3 minutes or 3 and like that. So, but for this results that we have, they actually give us to them exactly 12 o'clock. So on the other hand, also, we want to use the convert function. The convert function also does the same thing as the cast function. The only difference is that cast can be used in other RDBMS like Postgres, like MySQL and the likes. But convert is strictly for SQL Server. Please, in case you have any questions, you can drop them in the message chat. So the convert is asking us that what's our target type? What do you want to convert our column to? Like the data type that you want to convert it to. So now in our case now, don't forget the modified date column add date and time. So it's the date time data type. But now we are just interested in the date. So the target type for what we are converting to is going to be date data type. Now it's asking for the expression. The expression is like the column or the string that I want to convert. In our case now is the modified dates column. So we'll close the brackets. We can give it a name. We can say modified date, just to separate and see the difference. Also select this to see the difference for easy comparison. So running our query now, we can see that our modified dates column, which is the third column, it has just the date. That is all we are interested in. We don't care about the time it was modified. All we want is which day was it modified. So here we go. We have just the date as we wanted. So that's for cast and convert function. So the next is going to be left LTrim, outtrim, and trim. So basically what these three functions actually do is to remove white spaces, just normal spaces in a string. Okay, let's imagine probably when an employee fills a form at the company's website, the data gets stored in a database. And let's imagine an employee probably puts in his name and mistakenly press the spacebar like twice before including his name. We all know that we have like white spaces before his name, or we can even have in the front and in the back. Maybe instead of pressing enter, he mistakenly pressed the space bar. So now we are having some white spaces in our value. We can actually remove those spaces using these three what's it called, functions. And okay, I should have dropped the so I created a table because the adventure data, I can't find it. Let's just go on. I actually created a client table because the adventure data works database does not have any table or column that has such defects. So I created let me just show you the table I created. I named it the client table. So as you can see the client's name over here, we can see what's happened in the second record for Brian. When probably when he put in his name, he made some mistakes, pressed space bars like before inputting his name. Same thing for Joy and Taiwo. So we can actually remove these errors. We can format the column to look nice and probably properly formatted. First and foremost, you can use the left stream. So what the left stream does is that in case there is a column or there's a name that has white spaces before the value, you know that's on the left, that's at the beginning. So the left stream can actually erase that and format the column to make it very proper. So now I want to trim the white spaces in the client's name. So I'm going to choose the client's name, column, client's name. Let's just as client's name modified. Let's also select the initial and the original column so you can see the difference. So execute, you can see that the modified one is having a very nice format and is looking very presentable compared to the original client name table that we had initially. So we can also do the same thing for the white spaces that we have, but we can't actually see them because of the old font color and background color over here. But to do that, all we have to do is use the R trim, which is the right trim actually, for that client's name. We actually can't see it because we can't see the effects actually because of the background color as I mentioned earlier. So there's another beautiful, the very third one, which is trim. Trim was actually introduced, I think, in 2017 to SQL Server. So what it does is that it actually removes both leading and trailing white spaces. So you don't need to start checking, okay, is this column having left white spaces or having right white spaces? This function is just going to erase everything for you at once. No stress. So to do that, we just say trim. It does not have R or T or anything. All it has is trim. So it's going to remove both leading and trailing white spaces. So as you can see here, we have our properly formatted column, the client's name modified. So the very next function we're going to be exploring is the upper, the lower, the len, left, and right. So the upper function, if we are actually used to Excel, we actually know this function is also upper in Excel. So it actually converts characters in a string to uppercase. And for the lower also, it converts all characters in a string to lowercase. Let's explore that. Let's use the person table in the AdventureWorks database. Person, yeah. Okay, so we have the first name, we have middle name, and we have the last name. Let's assume we want everything to be lowercase. We can just do that using the lower function. We want the first name to be in lowercase. We want the last name also to be in lowercase. We also use the same function called lower, last name. Let's run this and let's see. So you can see everything has become lowercase. Everything from the very first one to the 19,000th record. Everything has become lowercase. And if you want everything to be in uppercase, all you have to do is change these are lower. Although most times we often have the last name as in capital letter. So let's just change that particular one. Use the upper function. We leave the first name as a lowercase. So you can see everything has become uppercase. The Abbas, Adams, Albert, Alexander, and like that. So there's some scenarios whereby maybe the IT department wants to carry out some survey and maybe don't test a new product. And to use the product, it has to have a number of characters. Maybe when you're repeating your name, you can't have more than 10 characters. But now the IT team wants to carry out a survey to see the number of characters that the last names of people in the company actually have. So to get the number of characters from a string or a numeric value, you can use the function called length. Let's remove this and also use last name. So now I want to know the number of characters that our last names have in our company. So you can see using that len function, it's brought out the number of characters in each cell. So Abbas has 5 characters. You can count A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Abel has 4. Adams has 5. Alan has 4. Albert has 7, and so on. So that is how we can get the number of characters in a value. It actually also works for numeric value. It's not just restricted to strings. So moving on, we have the left and the right functions. So the let functions, as the name implies, is actually used to extract characters from the left side of a string. So my name is Hakeem. Maybe I won't be the IT department wants to create passwords for everyone in the organization, and they want to use just the very first 3 letters or 3 characters of everyone's first name or everyone's last name. Let's use last name. So to do that now, we can use the left function. So here we are going to change the len to left. Then it actually takes in 2 parameters. The very first parameter is going to be the value that you want to extract a substring from. In this case now is the last name. Then the second parameter is going to be how many characters you want me to extract. That's what SSMS is going to access. After you've provided SSMS with the value that you want to extract, the old value that I want to extract something from, it's actually, okay, how many characters you want to extract from this thing? So in our case now, we want just the very first 3 characters. So we're going to say last name, then 3. If we run this now, we're going to see that Abbas shortened name is just ABB. Abel as ABE, then and so on. You can say everything has just 3 characters. Alonso as Alo, Altman as Alt, Alvarez as Av, and so on. So the IT department can easily just get this query and then do their own work at the end. But if they actually say, okay, we want to use maybe the last 3 names or last 3 characters rather of their last name for the password and not the very first 3 characters, they can actually do that using the right function instead of the less function. So it also takes the value and the number of characters that you want from that value. In our case now, I want the last 3 characters. And how it actually works, let's say my name is Hakeem. My name is actually Hakeem. And it start counting from the back. It start counting from M. So M is going to be the very first character is counting, then E, then second E. So that's how it actually operates. That's how it functions. So now, let's get the last 3 characters of everyone's last name so that the IT department or IT personnel can use those shortened name. So for Abbas now, his shortened name is going to be Bas. Abel is going to be Bell. Abercrombie is going to be B. Aboros is going to be Us, and so on like that. If you want just the last 4 characters, all you have to do is you remove the 3 and put 4. And here we go. Dams, Nda, and so on. So the next character I'm going to be exploring, or sorry, the next function is going to be the substring function. So substring function actually is almost the same as left and right, except that you are going to tell SSMS this time around that, okay, I don't want you to start from the left. I don't want you to start from the right. I want you to start from this particular position. And from this position, I want you to give me a particular number of characters from that position I've chosen. Okay, let's use my name again as Hakeem. Now I can tell SSMS, I want you to start counting. I want you to extract characters from the 3rd character in Hakeem. So now the 3rd character in Hakeem is K, right? So I'm not telling SSMS from this K, extract 4 characters from me. So SSMS will scan through the value, you pick K as the start point. So from K onwards, it's going to start counting. I told SSMS I want 4. So K is going to be our number 1 character that is going to be extracted. Then almost like that. So now in our case, we want it from K. I want 4 characters. So it's going to extract him for us. Let's try that. Select substring. Hakeem should be quoted because it's a string. And then it's asking for the starting position. As you can see, it's going to be an integer. So the starting position for us is 3 because K is the third position in Hakeem. Then it's asking us length. So the length is the number of characters you want it to extract from the starting point. In our case, I want 4 characters from K. So put 4. Close the bracket. Then running this, running this can execute. You can see it has returned Kim. Let's try that on the larger data set. Let's say a substring. Maybe we want from the second character as well for every last name. Then we want 3 characters from the second character. I think if you have any questions, please let them come in. So here we go. Execute. So for me, I can see that for Abbas now, you said it should start counting from, it should start extracting rather from B, which is character number 2. And I want 3 characters after from the start point. So it's giving me B, B, A. So that's going to be the results that we want. We want it to start counting from particular position and give us a particular number of characters from that position. So the next function I'm going to be exploring is the char index. So what the char index does is that it actually finds the position of a substring within a string. So let's assume my email address is hakeem@gmail.com. Just an assumption. Don't go and send me also. So we want to know the position where the @ function is. All we have to do is select. Don't forget the name of the function is char index, which means character index. Char index. Then this is going to be quoted also. It's a string. Oh, sorry. We are looking for the @ in it. So we are looking for @ in the Hakeem. Okay, it's meant to be quoted as well. Yeah, so we are saying, we are telling SSMS, look for the position of this @ symbol in Hakeem's email. Hakeem's email is hakeem@gmail.com. So now we can run this. So SSMS is telling us that Hakeem is on the 7th position in his email. Sorry, @ is on the 7th position in the entire email. Let's count. H is 1, A is 2, K is 3, then 4, 5, 6. You can see that the @ symbol is on the 7th position. If I want to find maybe the position of K, so K is on number 3. So if you account character from the left, not from the right, it's going to be HAK. K is on the 3rd position in the email. So if I'm too fast, you can let me know so I can slow down a bit. So now the next function is replace. Let's assume I sent a message as hello world. But I'm not greeting the whole world. I don't want to greet the whole world. I just want to greet Nigeria because today is Nigeria's independence. So I want to direct it to Nigeria. What we can do is use the replace function That's select, then replace. So now it's giving us, okay, expression to be searched. That's like the word or the string or the value that you want to search or you want to replace something in. So it asks us, okay, what do you want to replace in this value that you've given me? We tell it, okay, we want to replace word because we don't read the whole world. We want to read just Nigeria because it's Nigeria's special day. So now we replace it. So you've given it a tag that, okay, find this term called world in this value. So now you tell it again, okay, so when you find this particular word in this O value, replace it with Nigeria. Then close our bracket. Then you can execute. You can see the hello world has been changed to hello Nigeria. Let's assume that the company wants to change a particular product name. Let's use I think products. Okay. Okay, so we have several products name, and maybe the management has decided that we don't want product names to have flat. Instead, we want it to have circular. So instead of flat washer 1, it's going to be circular or circle washer 1, and so on. So anywhere there is flat in the whole column, I want it to replace it with circle. So now to do that, we'll say replace. So what do we want to replace? We want to replace the name. What's in the name do you want to replace? So anywhere it says flat, you should replace it as circle, or let's say circular. Close our brackets. Let's also select the name column so we can see the magic that has happened in this SMS. So let's execute. So let's search for flat. Okay, let's just use the where plus where name like flat. Okay, we can see that these are the names of products that have flat in them. So the modified column that we have now, everything has changed to circular. So there is no such thing as flash washer again. So the new name we're going to be getting is circular washer 1, circular washer 2, circular washer 3, and so on. So that is how the replace function actually works. So okay, let's do the concat function first, this function. So the concat function is just to combine and join two or more strings or values together. So we have in this table, in the person table, we have some columns for names. Let's just join all those names together so we can have a full name column. Okay, so you have first name, middle name, last name on 3 different columns. But we don't want that. We want all our names to be in just one column. So to do that, we can use the concat function. On brackets, then we want to concatenate the very first name, the employee's first name. then it's going to have a separator because it won't make sense for everything to be joined together. So I'm going to be using a separator. Let's use an hyphen to join them. Then you have the middle name, an hyphen also. Then we have the last name. And we can close the bracket. Let's execute this to see. So you can see that Said slash E slash name. So you can see Catherine R. Abel. Kim does not have a middle name. That's why it's having two hyphens. Then, and like that. So there might be some cases whereby you don't remember that particular function to join two values together. You can actually use instead of the concat name, you can just use the additional sign, the cross sign. So you can say select first name plus, don't forget the separator, which is the hyphen, then plus the middle name, the separator again, the hyphen. Okay, sorry, this is meant to be a plus, not equal. Then finally, the last name. So let's run this. We have a nose. Okay, but we can see that, let's remove the nose. Okay, we can see that most of them, the additional sign is also having the same functionalities as the concat function. So at the same time, there's another function called concat underscore WS, which actually means concat with separator. So instead of typing this separator multiple times, imagine we want to concat maybe like 10 columns together. You now keep typing first name plus the separator, middle name plus the separator, last name plus the separator, and like that. It's going to be very tiring and this thing time consuming. So just to avoid all those stress, we can actually use the concat underscore WS function. So it actually takes in the separator that you want to use to separate all the columns, all the values you want to join together. So you don't have to keep repeating that separator after every column. So in our case now, we want to just add, we want to join the 3 columns together using an hyphen. Yeah. So hyphen is our separator. As you can see here, it's saying separator, then the expression is the value and the columns that you want to join together. In our case, we want to join the first name, the middle name, and the last name as full name. So here we go. So the names have been separated by hyphen with less stress and less time typing and all those things. So we can actually use the concat underscore WS function. There is another function called string split. So string split is actually used to to split a comma separated string. Let's assume in just one record, so in just one cell in a record, we have a cell that has several names of fruits. That's apple, banana, oranges, in just one cell. But we don't want it to be like this. We want it to be on every row. So instead of having just one row that has 3 different types of fruits, we want to have 3 different rows that have the 3 different types of fruits. So that is where the string split actually comes in. So to use this string split is almost like you're using a table. So we say select and select all from string split. And you open your column, then the value you want to separate. Then it's also going to ask you, it actually takes in 2 parameters, the value you want to separate and the separator. In our case now, the separator is a comma. So we're going to put the comma as a separator. Then we'll close the bracket. So we can execute this. We can see that what we had initially that was just on one row has been separated into 3 different rows. We have apple, banana, and oranges on 3 different rows. So let's actually go back to the client table that I created initially. So if we observe on this very last column, we have the client's preference. So this table actually consists of clients and their course preference that they want your BizEdge to teach them, or the courses that are demanding for your BizEdge. So in the case of Mike Tree, which is our very first client, is demanding for SQL and Excel. In the case of Taiwo, who is our last client, is demanding for Excel, Python, and Power BI. Now, the management wants to know the number of demands that we have for each course. We can't use the count function in this scenario because it won't count the courses from each rows. So now this is where the strict split can be used. We need to split all these courses, all their preferences into a whole column. Then you can count that column and then group by the courses. So you can get the particular number of courses that we have. Sorry, the courses that are in demand by the people. And I want us to go back to this and also notice something from this one we did initially. We can notice that the column name that we have here is automatically value. Now, to get our client's preferences, to know the number of courses that we demanded for, we'll say, we want to know them by name, we'll say client's name. Then we're going to use values because now we are using the strict sprints, and the strict sprints actually returns a column with a name value. So in our case now, we're going to say value. Can actually rename it and say courses because that's what we're interested in. So now it's more like you're joining 2 tables together this time around. So say cross apply. Cross apply substring. Okay, we are having to. Now we want want to separate the client's preference, and the separator is a comma. Let's just give this an alias C and maybe S. So S that's a value. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake here. It should be string splits. Okay. Okay, good to go. So if we run this, we can see that the courses are now on just one column, and it can be easily counted and grouped by. But I don't think we don't have so much time to do that, but you can further try at your own leisure time. But from this results that we've gotten, you can carry out analysis on it. So we are going to be proceeding to number formatting. Just as we all know, formatting is just to change the appearance or the representation of a value. So in this case now, we are going to be changing values of numbers. So the very first function I'm going to be exploring is a round function. Select. So we are going to be using the sales All right. So there's a mistake here. In this unit price, you can see that it's actually a currency. But just like, let's assume this is a Nigerian company. There is no such thing as 994 kobo or 8,404 kobo. Kobo is just, it can't be more than 99. Once it's more than 99, it becomes 1 naira. So now we want to format this column so that it's going to be given that particular currency format that we want. We can say unit price, okay, format function. We want to format the unit price. Sorry, round. We want to round the unit price to two decimal places because normal money has just 2 decimal places, like the kobo. So we say 2, close the bracket, then execute. So you can see it has rounded up to 2 decimal places. Let me add the initial column so you can compare and see. So this is the initial one that we had, 994. It's rounded up to 2 decimal places. Then in this case that we had, it's 8404. It has rounded up to 2 decimal places also. So the next function is going to be ceiling. Ceiling actually works like ceiling. It actually works like the round function. But in this case, instead of rounding a value to decimal places, it rounds a value to the nearest integer. So let's assume, let's use this. Select. Okay, let's assume the population of Lagos State is like 2 million plus. And children in Lagos are 39% of the total population. So now to get the total population of children in Lagos, we know that is 39%, which is 0.39 times the total population of Lagosians. You can see the number we are getting is having decimal points. Is having .31, and we know human beings can be counted as half. Even half is 0.5, but now we're having 0.31 as the additional value. So to do this now, we use the ceiling function. So what the ceiling function does, okay, let me just put this at the other side so you can see what exactly is happening over here. So this is the modified column, and this is the initial column that we add, the population column after doing the multiplication. So what it does is that even, we know when we're approximating, like we used to approximate back then in school, anything that is above 5 or is equals to 5 is going to add 1 to the main value. But in the case of ceiling, even if it is 0.01, as far as it's having a decimal, it's going to add 1 to the value. In our case now, we have 0.31, but when it was rounding up the number, it's rounded it off as 583 instead of 582 as the normal round function would have done. So the ceiling function is actually used when we are talking about, when we are having analysis about human beings, populations, and the likes. So that's for ceiling. 3 minutes ago. So we have the format function. The format function is actually a very versatile function. It can be used to format dates, to format numeric values, to format currencies. Even it can even format a number as percentage. That's how versatile it is. Now we have unit price. Let's assume it's a Nigerian company and we have unit price. And we want to include the Nigerian symbol in the column. So all we have to do is format, then the column that I want to format, then the format that I want to use for that column, which is denoted as C because it's a currency. We want to show the Naira sign. Now we are using Nigerian Naira. So this is called culture code. You can actually check up different countries' culture codes. So when we are formatting, maybe we are working with a Chinese company and they want to format the column as Chinese yuan. So you can just search for the country code and then input it in this parameter. So for our case now, is a Nigerian Naira. And the culture code for Nigerian Naira is I think EG en.ng. Close the column. You can execute this. And you can see that we have the Naira symbol in all our records. But by default, without putting any culture code, it's going to be in $sign. That's a USD. You can see. If you want to check or want to format it for Chinese yuan, you can say the culture code is going to be, I think, ZH. Let's try ZH. That's CN. You can see we have the yuan symbol in all our records. Yeah, so there's some times whereby the number is just too large for us to read. Maybe you have like 2 million Naira in the record, but we have to start counting number of zeros that we have in that particular figure. So instead of doing that, you can just use the format function. Then maybe let's also use the unit price column. Then this time around, we're going to be using the letter N. That's going to be the format. And close our bracket. We can still copy this and reuse. So the N stands for number, as C stands for currency. So now you can easily say that, okay, now this very first column is 2024. Imagine there was no formatted, you start counting, okay, 4, 2, 0. You put a comma in your brain and then you have it. You can actually format it directly to have a particular decimal place. Like for instance, now we have 99. Once format it to a, okay, let's use some, to one decimal place. All you have to do is n, just add a 1 to the front of the n, and can do that again. You can see it has been formatted to one decimal place. Initially, we had, I think, 2.84. Let's put unit price to compare. Okay. You can see for record 8, which had 8 points, sorry, which had 0.8404. It has been approximated to one decimal place. So we have 28.8 instead of the all long figures that we had. So you can also do that for 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places. So also, in case we have like a discount that I want to give, we can actually format that discount column to be percentage, because they are mostly in percentages. So you can just format, you can use the format. Let's assume you're giving 39% discount, or maybe it's a 50% discount, but the column that you're given was just in decimal. Maybe it's at like 0.5. Now to format this, now the format you're going to be using, you're going to be using letter P, which stands for percentage. Then you can run this. You can see it's giving us 50%. So also we can also use the format for dates. So yeah, we have dates formats. We have various dates formats. We have D, which stands for the date, sorry, the day of the month. We have double D, which stands for like 09 instead of 9. We have M, which stands for the month. Then I want us to be very careful here. Whenever we are formatting a maybe a date, and let's be careful with the, what's it called? The case of the column, or of the formats that we're going to be using rather. So the capital letter M is used for months, while the small letter m is actually used for, sorry. Okay, while the small letter m is used for minutes. Same thing applies for hours. So the small letter h stands for hours in 12-hour clock, while the capital letter H is for hours in 24-hour clock. So now we can actually go over this some other time, but because we are long overdue. So let's assume the management wants to know the weekday or the day name that people are giving birth to. You can still use the person. Okay, there is a birth date column. The person. Oh, sorry, I think it's the employee table. We have a column for birth date. Okay. Okay. So we have birthdays, we have higher dates. Maybe we want to see the dates that employees were actually hired, the day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and like that. You can actually use the formats. Okay, let's select a job title. The hired dates, and they want to know the day, that particular day of the week that we hired. You say format. Hire dates. And the format we want is DDD. DDD as an abbreviation. So DDD is gives the abbreviation of the day name. Like today is Sunday, so we have Sun. Even the full name, we can use DDD, 4 days. So let's do this. So we can see that the CEO was hired on a Wednesday, the vice president was hired on a Thursday, the engineering manager was hired on a Sunday. That's weird. The senior tool designer was hired on a Wednesday, and so on and so forth. You can just get several date formats using the format function. With that, I believe we've come to the end of the webinar. Let's see if you have any questions. Thank you all for listening.
Much. And so David asked one or two questions. I tried to do division of labor to provide him answer while you are wrapping up. Any other questions? So we have a prize giveaway. Let me quickly just maybe share my screen and show you what we are giving away, and then I'll tell you how you qualify. So Hakeem is going to ask a question, and if the first person to get the answer, wins the prize. So we have an online course platform, and we have many courses that already are live. So the one that is relevant to today's session is SQL. So we are giving away this course to the first person to get the answer to the question Hakeem will ask. Okay, so best of luck to everyone. Hakeem, over to you.
Yeah, just to save our time, I won't ask a very difficult question. So the question I'll be asking is, which function can you use to split a comma-separated string into multiple columns? Sorry, into multiple rows, rather. Is there anyone?
Unfortunately, we prefer that we type the answer in the chat, so it makes it easier to judge the correct, first correct answer. Please
let me just type the
chat.
question.
So that we don't get sued. Okay.
Okay. I think we have someone already. We have Said.
Oh, okay. All right. So congratulations. By the way, what was it? Is the answer correct? I was trying to
Yeah, the
remember
answer
your
is
question.
correct. Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
the question
so
was the function that can be used to split a comma-separated string into multiple rows.
Okay. Oh, yes, I remember. So congratulations, and please email us at webinar. I'm typing this so that we'll have your correct email to send you the coupon to get your prize award. Thanks. Okay, so thank you to everyone, and I want to wish you a very wonderful week ahead. Happy Independence Day to us. And thank you, Hakeem, for the wonderful session.
It's my pleasure.
Thanks. And Okay, enjoy the rest of the little. I think it's already night, so the weekend is over. So have a wonderful week ahead. Thanks, Hakeem. Thanks to everyone who stayed to the end, and I hope you learned a lot. Or learned some things today. So please always try to utilize what you practice, what you learn. If you have missed any of our sessions on how to set up a SQL DB, how to set up your own development environment, so that it makes it easier for you to practice all of these. You can watch our recorded session. I'm sharing the links. Okay. And I think I just copied it exactly from the way it was I shared before. So anyway, you get the details in it, and you can always connect with, you can add Hakeem on LinkedIn so that, you become part of his network and it too becomes part of your network. All right. So thank you everyone, and have a wonderful week ahead. Bye. Thank you. Bye to everyone.